If all goes well, this video should be going up on the release date of Black Ops 7. But before we wall kick into the future, I wanted to take some time to look back at the past year. Black Ops 6 started out with so much promise, advertising a return to form for the Call of Duty series and a much needed update to movement, matchmaking, and maps. What started off as an optimistic new entry in a beloved game franchise eventually rotted on the vine and withered, in my opinion. As we stand here on the cusp of the Black Ops 7 release, let's take some time to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of BO6. So first up, because a lot of the coverage you see online is pretty negative and the rest of this video will be pretty critical, I wanted to talk about the things that went well. I'm going to try and keep this review brief, as many of you probably played through the game this year, but if you have something specifically you want my thoughts on, or something I said wasn't clear, let me know in the comments below. Those of you who were here for the launch of Black Ops 6 likely remember the waves of hype washing over the community. There were so many exciting additions to the game, and after the lackluster years with Modern Warfare 2 and 3, people were ready for a change of pace. Activision and Treyarch promised updates to how we play with Omni movement, smaller maps that were more focused on pushing frequent engagements, and a grind worthy of your time. There was a lot to be excited for, and the COD cycle this time was even powerful enough to bring me back to the series after a long hiatus. I'm old as dirt, so the first game I played in the franchise was Call of Duty 2 back in the day, but I really cut my teeth with the franchise during the golden era. Modern Warfare, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 2. My interest waned in the franchise a bit after that, and while I did return for World War II and 2019's Modern Warfare, those games didn't really sink their hooks back into me like the old days. Black Ops 6, however, was initially looking like it was going to change all of that. At launch, BO6 looked like it was going to live up to all the hype. The gameplay felt great, and the faster pace coupled with the smaller maps definitely delivered the non-stop action. The only blemish I can remember from launch with my nostalgia glasses is thinking that some of the new maps were kinda cheeks, but I had high hopes for how things would progress as Season 1 and beyond went on. So yeah, everything at the start was pretty great in my opinion. The act of playing the game felt fun, and I looked forward to it each day. But usually, when you're riding a high, it makes the coming fall feel even worse by comparison. And let's just say that things did not keep up with these feelings of positivity. Now let's discuss how things went wrong in my opinion. The biggest issue I had was with the overall game design philosophy with Black Ops 6. Specifically, the smaller maps and faster gameplay was fun for a bit, but I found myself getting tired of playing a lot faster than I would with other games. I was a Destiny enjoyer back in the day, and I put a ton of time into Apex Legends, so I'm definitely more than okay with a grind. But my brain would consistently feel like it was being melted by overstimulation after a couple hours of playing Black Ops 6, and I would have to put the game down. At first I just thought it was me being old, but a lot of other players echoed my sentiments online. The map situation really did not get better either. We had a handful of new additions trickle out over the seasons that made playing the game more bearable, but a lot of the maps that were actually tolerable for players were remakes of old maps. On top of all of this, we had guns that were clearly overtuned and overpowered, dominating the meta for months at a time, often only getting ousted from everybody's loadout when a newer, even more broken weapon was released. There were weapons that were clearly a problem from the beta of this game that weren't really touched. And if you log into Black Ops 6 today, you will still see people running them. The promises of post-launch support were not lived up to. And Treyarch quietly fell into this pattern of releasing lackluster events that were rehashed with a new coat of paint, and just kind of seemed like they were just hoping people would keep playing. As a player that returned to the series after a long break, especially with all the excitement I was feeling from the beginning, it was painful to watch how far the community's sentiment fell over the course of the last year. It really felt like we were sold a dream and now we were waking up with very little to show for it. Now to touch on the ugly. For me, the final nail in the proverbial coffin for this game was the questionable choices made when it comes to operator skins and in-game collaborations. Now, I know that Black Ops 6 was not the first game to have goofy skins or other brand tie-ins, but I don't think it can be argued that this game has some of the most egregious examples of excessive, immersion-shattering outfits. Call of Duty doesn't need to be hyper-realistic or milsim. It kind of sits in the realm of Michael Bay action movies more than actual warfare. But something about Ninja Turtles running around killing Seth Rogen, while Cheech and Chong battle it out with Beavis and Butthead just made me cringe every time I loaded up the game. It just felt performative. It felt like it was purely driven by corporate greed, and probably most of all, it felt lame. As I said in a previous video I made on another channel, when your game is run by the rule of cool, becoming cringe is a death sentence. And I personally know a lot of players that just didn't feel like this game was made for them anymore after all these collaborations started trickling in. When you see Stan Smith from American Dad getting executed by a farting unicorn, or you get shot by a weed wizard with a bong for a gun, you don't feel like you're getting that classic, cool Call of Duty experience we have come to know and love. And while I'm sure they made money hand over fist with these skins, in my opinion, that money came at too high of a price. So do I think Black Ops 6 lived up to my expectations? And do I think it was a good game? While definitely not the worst game I've ever played, the choices along the way during the post-launch content release really made me feel like the game did not live up to its potential. That glimpse of what I felt the game could have been at the launch. There was a lack of responsiveness to community frustrations, and some of the things that the devs prioritized were downright bizarre. I think that this game made a lot of people disillusioned with the Call of Duty series. And when they are planning to release a direct sequel to that game a year later, that's not a great plan for making more sales. All of that is before you even factor in the fact that a lot of players have moved on to Battlefield 6 and are very happy over there. So here's hoping that this whole thing was a learning process and that Treyarch and Activision will do better this time. Or maybe this ship we have always been told is too big to sink might actually have their Titanic moment. I can't really tell you if you should pick up Black Ops 7 based on BO6. Because if I'm being honest, you probably shouldn't. For most people, I would probably recommend playing it safe and waiting to see how things turn out. They did dupe me again, though. Somehow I bought into the COD hype cycle once again, because as of right now, I actually think that this new game will be pretty good. I'm really hoping that they learned a lot this past year and they will put their best foot forward with BO7. But I guess time will tell if I have to eat those words. And if I was wrong, I will be the first to admit it. At the end of the day, I am thankful for Black Ops 6, because while it didn't live up to the hype in the long run for me, I have to give it credit for getting me back into the Call of Duty series. The first few weeks after launch came close to capturing that feeling of magic I had back in the day, or at least what my nostalgia says that magic felt like. And I really don't think I would have gotten back into this franchise I have loved so much without this game. I hope that the devs can learn from the missteps with the post-launch support for Black Ops 7. And to be fair, they're talking pretty big game about what's coming. So I'm looking forward to that, along with the changes that they have advertised, but time will tell if they stick to their guns and keep their word with all these promises. I still think that, all things considered, BO6 was a great foundational start that helped get Call of Duty back where it needed to be. And now the only thing left to do is wait and see how BO7 shakes out. I'll be covering everything every step of the way, so make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with my thoughts. But that's all for me today. I'm Haunted House, and thanks for watching.